You know, James Cameron, if you just have to relax and let your mind go blank to become an avatar, I'm gonna try it. This is great. Avatar, directed by James Cameron, stars Sam Worthington, Sigourney Weaver, Zoe Zadana, and Stephen Lang. Now, I know you're all wondering, why am I reviewing Avatar again, as I already reviewed it in a six-part epic review before, but guys, it was my first review, and to be honest, it wasn't great. It wasn't the masterpiece I was hoping it would be. It was kind of a mess, so yeah, I wasn't too happy with the way my channel was going. I thought the way I would review films would work out, but it wasn't. So as I said in my channel update, I decided to make my reviews short and simple and give you guys quality, professional and fun reviews, and efficient, informative reviews as well from now on, I promise. So Avatar, it's the story of the reluctant hero Jake Sully, who's living in the year 2154. He's disabled. His brother was supposed to be going on the mission to Pandora to bring Ukulelean back to heal Earth, but his brother was sadly killed in a robbery. Since Jake's DNA is identical to his brother's, Jake is selected as his brother's replacement to go on the mission to Pandora, which is just what he does, where he joins the Avatar program, where he gets into an avatar body, and the head of security, Colonel Miles Quarnrich, gives Jake the task of learning the Na'vi, the natives of Pandora, from the inside and gaining their trust. The mission at first goes as planned as he meets up with Neytiri, the princess of her clan, and she takes Jake into the clan and convinces the king and queen and her brother Zute to accept Jake into the clan, as he learns the ways of the Na'vi, how to speak their language, how to ride, how to fly, and eventually becomes one of the people. Him and Neytiri unexpectedly fall in love and mate for life, and that's when things get complicated. Then Quarnrich gets really pissed that Jake has betrayed them and chosen to side with the Na'vi and is forgetting his loyalties to the RDA. So Quarnrich and the RDA then bomb the Na'vi home tree and completely start the war that will determine the fate for Pandora. So Jake and Grace and Neytiri and gather all the Na'vi clans for battle to battle Quarnrich and the RDA in an epic, sensational final battle to save the Tree of Souls and to save Pandora itself. And will Jake choose to be a Na'vi or a human? Now, Avatar, when it came out back in December 2009, everyone loved it. Everyone was calling it a film that changed cinema forever with its groundbreaking visual effects and 3D technology. But now, yeah, people have very mixed feelings on it, and nobody talks about it anymore. They just think, oh, it's just a special effects movie. It's so weak in the story department. It's just the Pocahontas storyline all over again. And today, some love it, some hate it, but personally, I absolutely love it. Now, if you like this movie and think it's underrated, you're gonna love this video, but if you hate this movie and think I'm out of my mind, and then you're not gonna like this review, but that's okay. Just respect my opinion, I respect yours, and we all get along. Believe it or not, James Cameron himself had the idea for this movie back when he used to draw ideas of Pandora on the back of his pencil case back in school. People who didn't like this movie, ask yourself this: James Cameron's imagination, you can't deny, is brilliant. The fact that he came up with this beautiful, incredible world when he was just a kid is out of this world. I mean, well, I thought of civilizations and fantasy worlds, as I love fantasy before, but I could never have imagined a world quite like this. He wanted to bring it to the screen for such a long time. He was even trying to make it back in 1996. He just didn't have the technology at the time. So this movie took over a decade to make. That's incredible. That's incredibly ambitious. And it didn't get made. He didn't fully have the technology until 2009. Sam Worthington as Jake Sully. Oh my god, just perfect casting. I admit, I'd never even heard of Sam Worthington before Avatar, but now I love him. I think he's awesome. Give him more work, Hollywood. The guy deserves it. He had the task of playing a disabled man who had a great motivation to become a Na'vi because his life as a Na'vi was so much better than his life as a human. and he did it perfectly. You could totally understand why Jake loved his time as a Navi, and it was, of course, like he says, like a dream that he never wanted to end. And Zoe Zadana as Neytiri, just all around awesome. Neytiri is my favourite character in the entire movie, hands down. She is the coolest chick ever put on film. She is beyond badass. She is not just the typical damsel in distress. She actually stand up to herself. She really fights in the final battle, and she's actually the one that killed Quarnridge, which was really impressive. Love the Na'vi. I love learning about their fascinating culture. I loved being in this beautiful world. I wouldn't have minded being an avatar myself after watching this movie. I love learning about their language, riding their horses, flying their banshees. Oh, and I have to say, that flying scene when Jake flies the banshee through the skies of Pandora, oh my god, absolutely beautiful. My jaw completely dropped in awe. It's the best, most beautiful flying scene ever put to film. And I even love Sigourney Weaver as Grace. Granted, she was great as Ripley in Terminator. Sorry, Aliens. But also, she's the one here who really understands the Na'vi better than anyone. She's the one who tells Quarnridge, leave them alone. They're just people like us. And there's a network of life flowing between the trees. And if they want to share this world with them, they need to understand that. And it was Stephen Lang as Quarnridge. Oh my gosh. One of the greatest cinema villains of all time. Stephen Lang gave one of the best performances I've ever seen. I am not kidding. I know some people may say, why do you love him so much? Isn't he the most boring, generic, cliched villain? And doesn't he have zero motivation? Does he just want to kill the Na'vi and destroy Pandora for no reason? Well, he does have a great motivation, guys. And a great one of that. He wants to save Earth. He wants to save his planet and his people by getting that Eutalalium to make Earth better, even if it means wiping out an innocent race and destroying a planet to do so. And the film's secondary antagonist, Parker Selfridge, he was good. He was the guy that really sit back and gave the orders, but he definitely was not a patch on Quarnridge. He didn't leave that lasting impression. And Trudy, yeah, she was great too. She's the pilot woman who at first works for Quarnridge, but then turns against him in the end and realizes helping Jake and the Na'vi is the right thing to do. So yeah, you may disagree, but I think all of these characters are great and timeless. People said it was predictable that Jake and Neytiri fall in love, because that's of course what happens in the Pocahontas story, but I think this romance is brilliant. At first Neytiri hates Jake, but over time she learns he's not that bad, he's a nice guy, and when she finds out that he betrayed them, she at first is furious, but then she realizes he is their only hope of defeating the RDA and saving their world. So yeah, the romance is brilliantly developed and it actually takes time to happen. And that scene where they mated for life was just so romantic. It was beautiful. Boy, could this movie make me cry, especially the destruction of the Na'vi home tree. I was crying buckets full of tears. That is one of the saddest scenes in any movie I've ever seen, period. And while all this genocide was happening, Quarnridge was actually drinking tea while it was happening, making him the devil in human form. I always wondered even how it should have ended, pointed this out. Why didn't Jake just tell the Na'vi in the first place they just wanted some Eutalalium? Then the Na'vi would have given them the amount they needed to repair Earth. Then the humans would have just screwed off back to Earth and they would never have bothered Pandora again. That's so simple. I don't know why nobody ever thought of that. And the healing scene where they tried to save Grace, God, so emotional. I was really hoping they would. So sad that they were unable to, and Grace went off to Awa. That gave Jake a great motivation more than ever to hate Quarnridge. And I was cheering on the edge of my seat when Jake was giving the Aragorn Return of the King-like speech where he's saying, "This is our land." And he gathers all the Na'vi clans on Pandora to take down the RDA, and he has over 2,000 warriors and they prepare for battle. But Quarnridge has another plan up his sleeve. He's going to bomb the Na'vi home tree. And the final battle of this movie, the Battle of Pandora between the RDA and the Na'vi, oh my god, just mind-blowingly epic. I was completely glued to my seat. I could not take my eyes off the screen. It is one of those spectacular, epic final throwdowns in movie history. As Jeremy Jones said, you'll be willing to fight for the Na'vi and you even willing to die for the Na'vi. And it seems like the Na'vi are completely done for at first, as they suffer heavy casualties during the battle, sadly, which, boy, brought tears. I'm like, how are they going to win this? Until, thankfully, all the creatures of Pandora fight back, and Eywa, who Jake prayed to earlier to assist them, has finally decided to intervene and save her world. And Neytiri shouts, Eywa has heard you, and you're like, yay, finally! And Jake takes out the bomber that was going to bomb the Tree of Souls, and then he tries to destroy Quarnrich's ship, the Dragon. But despite Quarnrich's best efforts, Jake successfully does destroy the Dragon, and Quarnrich, he bursts out of an exploding ship, and he is pissed. He is gonna murder Jake for putting his plans to ruin. And Quarnrich fights Neytiri and the Fantor, but sadly kills the poor creatures, about to finish Neytiri off. But then Jake comes in, challenges Quarnrich to the ultimate man-to-man fight. And this final battle, absolutely brutal. I mean, James Cameron's known for violence in his movies, but this was just beyond extreme. Quarnrich is about to finish Jake off by slitting his throat. But then Neytiri comes in, she shoots Quarnrich in the chest twice, killing him, and then she revives Jake with a mask to help him breathe again. And so the humans are sent back to Earth, and Jake chooses to stay, and he opens his eyes to begin his new life as a Na'vi, and the movie ends. And I was like, after I'd seen that in cinema, I was like, wasn't that brilliant? And I still stand by that today. And I have to mention the score by James Horner in this movie is absolutely beautiful. That's something that people really overlook about this film. James Horner is one of the greatest composers of all time, and his score got me emotionally invested. It was epic, it was beautiful. It was masterfully composed. He's great. His score deserved an Oscar. It really did. And I love Leona Lewis's ICU. It's equal in every way to My Heart Will Go On from Titanic. It brought a tear to my eye. Perfect end credits song. So yeah, guys, I love Avatar. And if you look at it from a more positive point of view, it's really not bad at all. There's a lot to love here. I do not think it's weak in the story department at all. I think it's a very important film. We have to look after our planet. Otherwise, if we destroy it, we might go off in the future one day and destroy another planet and do the same mistake again. So this movie actually, it's saving mankind. James Cameron did a brilliant job with that. So yeah, Avatar is brilliant. It's a classic. It's an absolute masterpiece. Please go and see it. I'd give Avatar 5 stars out of 5. So what do you, ladies and gentlemen, think of Avatar? Do you agree with me? Do you think it's an underrated classic? Or do you think I'm overpraising this film, and do you hate it? Well, whatever you think, please comment and let me know. And if you like this video and subscribe to my channel, that would be great. And see you next time.